Good day, everyone. Allow me to continue the discussion of the CSR communication theories and models, along with the identification of what I believe is one of the most dominant communication traditions used in CSR communication. Let's begin with the corporate social responsibility, or the CSR theory. The CSR theory of Caroll is composed of four obligations: economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic. Economic obligation refers to making money for the company. Legal obligation is about adherence to the rules and regulations. Ethical obligation is doing what's right without necessarily being required or dictated by the law. And philanthropic obligation is a corporation's contribution to society, regardless of their independence. These four categories are also reflected in Caroll's pyramid of corporate social responsibility, which meant that corporations' priority is to make money and be profitable. Then, they have to make sure they are within the rules and regulations, regardless of how much they agree with them. The next level is being in good terms with other societal members by behaving in stated and spoken rules. They're usually implied or understood. The final level is about making good out of it by helping the society through charity. While the theory clearly defines the CSR domains, there were some criticisms, especially with the use of pyramid to demonstrate the relationship. First, to some, the pyramid framework suggests a hierarchy of CSR domains. One may be led to conclude that the domain at the top of the pyramid, which is a philanthropic responsibility, is the most important or highly valued domain that should be strived for by all corporations, while the economic domain at the base of the pyramid is the least valued CSR domain. Second, a pyramid framework cannot fully capture the overlapping nature of the CSR domains. The non-mutually exclusive nature of these domains isn't captured by the pyramid either. The tension between the economic and the ethical and the economic and philanthropic domains was also left out because of the pyramid model. In addition to the possible misunderstandings in using a pyramid, Caroll's use of a philanthropic category was deemed confusing and was seen as unnecessary to some. Caroll himself acknowledges that it may be inaccurate. The elimination of the philanthropic domain paved the way for the three-domain model of CSR. Let's begin with the economic domain. The economic domain captures those activities which are intended to have either a direct or indirect positive economic impact on a corporation. Examples of direct economic activities include actions intended to increase sales. An excellent example is the CSR initiative from IBM. In 2008, IBM launched their Corporate Service Corps program. As part of the program, 500 IBM employees every year brought their core competencies in project management, strategic planning, or engineering to an entrepreneurial company based in an emerging market such as Brazil, China, or Ghana. IBM core teams tackle issues ranging from public safety to urban agriculture. IBM stated that this program produced a $600 million return on a $200 million investment, proving that their action was a result of their pursuit of the economic domain. The next one is the legal domain. The legal category of CSR pertains to the business firm's responsiveness to legal expectations mandated and expected by society in the form of federal, state, and local jurisdictions. Regardless of how the business feels about these laws, following them would be necessary under the domain. CSR is a subject that has links with many areas of law, including international law and European law, corporate law and corporate governance, law on contracts, procedural law, labor, environmental law, and criminal law. For instance, some companies benefit from pursuing CSR initiatives by receiving tax deductions or exemptions. This legal justification could be the motivation behind the pursuit of these programs. The third domain is the ethical domain. This domain refers to the ethical responsibilities of businesses as expected by the general population and relevant stakeholders. It includes responsiveness to both domestic and global ethical imperatives. It can be viewed as conventional, which concerns justice or moral rights, consequentialist, or one that focuses on end results, and the ontological, which embodies activities reflecting consideration of one's duty or obligation. Netflix is an excellent example here. As one of the largest streaming sites employing thousands of people, the business decided to pursue an initiative that benefits its employees. It ordered 52 weeks of paid parental leave to the birth parent and the non-birth parent as well. which also included adopted children. This can be taken at any time, whether it is in the first year of the child's life or another time that suits their needs. This action is expected by the general public, but isn't always enforced by many businesses due to the lack of federal laws that require them to do so. In offering this option, Netflix is fulfilling its ethical responsibility. Now, this new model recognizes that apart from responsibilities that are purely economical, purely legal, or purely ethical, there might be some overlaps. All three might even be taken into consideration by businesses before making decisions. As you can see in the figure, there are decisions that involve economic and ethical at the same time, or economic and legal at the same time. Hence, this model is a better representation of the three domains. In regards to the traditions of communication, perhaps the most dominant one used in CSR is the social-psychological tradition. The social-psychological theory is grounded in the study of the individual, and there is specific focus on interpersonal interaction and influences. The psychological aspect of this approach views persons as entities with characteristics which cause them to act in independent ways. Attention is also given on persuasion and attitude change, as scholars realize the power that other persons can have on changing the message and affecting one's mind. For instance, one might be inclined to stop smoking if they saw public service announcements with graphic details of what smoking does to the lungs. Now, let's take the CSR initiative started by Chipotle and Intermarsh called the Inglorious Fruit and Vegetable. The aim of this initiative is to reduce food waste. The companies realize that fruits and vegetables usually end up being wasted. Now, with this campaign, the goal is to influence people's behavior, especially their views on eating foods that don't look perfect. They did it by selling the quote-unquote inglorious produce at a 30% discount and heavily publicizing the initiative. They even run an ugly fruit vegetable contest on their Instagram page, which actually worked, which goes to show that under the social psychological tradition of communication, this example can be a good proof. Now, after going through the topics, I would like to pose two questions. Number one is that what other tradition or traditions of communication are used in CSR initiatives? Please cite some examples. And the second one, can you give examples of CSR initiatives that are purely economical, purely legal, or purely ethical in nature? Please just choose one and provide some details. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have fun answering these questions.